Welcome back, you guys. This is Mr. Davila. Today we're going to be discussing the important leaders of New England who helped shape self-government and who helped promote it. All right, without any further discussion, let us continue while we review colonization era. All right, then, remember to do the quizzes as you watch this video. It's going to help you to check for understanding, see how much of this you're grasping, and it is an easy way to get a grade from me. The first 5 questions will be about, I almost forgot. The first 5 questions of today's quizzes are going to be a part of your retest. Remember that I told you that for the past 3 days we'll be doing warm-ups, and every 5 questions at the beginning of each warm-up will be part of your retest today. So you should be more than ready for it. All right, let's talk about the important leaders of New England that helped shape self-government. All right, first let's talk about Thomas Hooker. Remember that I told you Thomas Hooker was the man who created the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, FOOC, which was our first constitution in North America. He's also very important in the development of self-government in the 13 colonies. One of the biggest things that he believes is that all men should be allowed to vote regardless of religious views. Thomas Hooker came from the colony of Massachusetts, and in the colony of Massachusetts, you had to have a certain religion in order to be able to vote. And Thomas Hooker thought that was unfair. So not only does he push for a more equal representation, he also pushes for religious toleration, which are 2 things that are very important to our country. And Thomas Hooker gets the ball rolling on that. The next person that we'll talk about is a Puritan that Thomas Hooker might not have agreed too much with, and that is John Winthrop. Now, John Winthrop is a leader of the Puritans who live in Massachusetts. They arrived in Massachusetts in 1630. One of the most famous speeches that John Winthrop makes is known as the City Upon a Hill. In this speech, John Winthrop discusses that Puritans are chosen by God to create a perfect society, and they would serve as an example for others to follow. John Winthrop comes from England, right? And he saw how horrible things were going over there. So he didn't want to copy what was happening in Europe. He wanted to create something new. And he thought that God had chosen him and the Puritans to do that, to show the rest of the world what it means to live in a perfect society. So he's going to implement that in Massachusetts. And he's part of the reason why Thomas Hooker left Massachusetts. All right, then. Very important to remember that. The last thing we'll talk about is Roger Williams and Anne Hutchinson. Remember, we talked about them already. They were kicked out of Massachusetts for their weird energy, for the way that they addressed themselves, the way that they moved. It was not very common in Massachusetts, and it wasn't very liked. So they're going to be kicked out for their radical beliefs. And that's going to help Roger Williams and Anne Hutchinson help establish Rhode Island, where they're going to practice religious freedom and also escape persecution from Massachusetts. So they're going to escape Massachusetts for persecution, and then eventually they're going to establish religious freedom in Rhode Island. All right, then. Remember to continue to answer questions from your quizzes. All right, then. The last thing that we'll talk about today, as new things or as introducing things, is religion and self-government. Believe it or not, New England especially, as religious as it was, a lot of the things that made up a religious society are going to help promote self-government. For example, churches would have meetings take place where town people would discuss problems in society. which is kind of what government does. They discuss problems in society and try to solve them, and that's what was happening in the church. All right. All right. Also, men would sit in committees that were part of the church and make laws. No women were allowed, unfortunately, but men were allowed, no matter the um, the social status, no matter how poor or rich you were, to sit on the committees um, and make laws. The only exception was that you did have to own land at times. Church members participated in elections to vote for church leaders. So voting was happening also in the churches. Uh, the leaders of the church or um, of that society, of that community, usually were voted in through church. So again, another thing that self-government and religion kind of collided. And the last thing, church members would make their own laws and principles to govern communities. Usually church members, church leaders were looked as leaders of the whole community because most of society were so in tune with the church that they followed whatever the church said. So again, they did practice creating laws, meetings where they would discuss the problems with society, voting, um, electing church leaders, and all of this would translate eventually to what self-government would become. Again, guys, make sure that you're going over your quizzes as you are watching this video. Don't be afraid to pause it and go to the quizzes and answer the questions to see how much you have grasped. All right, guys, we're going to play a quick game of Who Am I? I am an example of self-government that served as a model to our Constitution. My initials are FOOC. Created by Thomas Hooker. Very good. The fundamentals of Connecticut. I'm sure some of you guys noticed the picture. All right. A region that has cold climate and rocky soil. That's right. New England. A region that had an agrarian economy and that practiced slavery. Remember that agrarian is farming. Very good. The correct answer is South region. Very good. Southern colonies. The economy of New England was fishing and shipbuilding. And all of this was due to what? Again, I hope you notice the picture. That's because they're harbors, right? They're right next to the ocean. They're right next to the harbor. What region has Massachusetts? Very good. New England. Awesome. A General Assembly in Virginia, which are called town meetings, that allowed colonists to self-rule. Very good. Very good. That is correct. House of Burgesses. This institution was in high demand because production in cash crops rose in the southern colonies. Looking at the picture, what do you think is that institution? Correct. Slavery, right? The plantation system and slavery are going to increase very much so as the South continues to focus on cash crops as a means to make money. The reason Roger Williams and Anne Hutchinson established Rhode Island, we just talked about them, right? They were kicked out of Massachusetts. Very good. To escape religious persecution, or if you answered also looking for religious freedom, both are correct. What region's economy was primarily shipbuilding, fishing, and whaling? Very good. New England. Remember that the rocky soil, the cold weather, and the fact that we're next to harbors push for that kind of job. a region with fertile soil and great climate for plantations. You probably know it. Very good. The South. All right, then, we are done for today. Remember to do your exit ticket. Today we're doing exit ticket word association part 2. It's under Google Classroom weekly assignments. Good luck. Remember to put the word with the correct definition. Alrighty, guys. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to review, do your quizzes. Stay safe out there. Till next time.